Welcome back to David's Daily Digital Dollop for another day. My name is David Eagle, who clearly takes no stock in the concept of familiarity breeds contempt. Right, tomorrow we should probably do 2 stories of 2 harrowing journeys to and from stand-up gigs. But while this story is still fresh in my mind, and it was something that only happened a few days ago, I thought I'd tell you about this. And then I'm going to end with a little bit of a musical offering, a little bit of a mashup that I created in about 5 minutes. It's something that just occurred to me in the shower. There are many things that occur to me in the shower. Principally, I really must get that growth checked out. I'm not sure if that's meant to be there, but you don't need to know about that. But I will address the other thing that occurred to me in the shower right at the end of this dollop. But first, the cause for the spark of this idea. And that was a few days ago when I was on the train. My girlfriend Ellie and I were heading back to Hartlepool to see the family. I mean, my family. We're not cousins or anything like that, just in case you were thinking it was an incestuous relationship. It's my family. And we talked a few days ago about the rather strange announcing style, the automated announcement, where the lady was saying the word Sunderland, which is always the final stop, with a rather sing-song intonation. So I thought I'd get a recording of this for the dollop. I mean, I'm sure you're all glad that I did. It was a classic bit of David's Daily Digital Dollop material. I mean, a lot of people are already thinking that's going to be in the best of, and that's going to be in the end of year special. We'll all be sitting at Christmas Eve with the family, roasting chestnuts on an open fire, sipping on eggnog. We'll be listening to that clip and fondly remembering where we were the first time that we heard it. But I'd left the original carriage that I was sat in to make this recording because the other one was filled with bird song, because I'm convinced that the carriage that we were sat in, Grand Central decided to pipe in the sounds of birds. At first we just thought there was the birds outside, but then when we went through a tunnel we could still hear the birds. So I don't know, I've not actually looked that up on the internet, whether that is the case. I want to explain to you, I'm on a walk right now. I'm walking through rural Sheffield, just in case you were thinking, I wonder if David has taken a leaf out of Grand Central's book and has started piping in bird song into his dollops. I haven't. Well, because of that, I went into the other carriage where there was no bird song and it was a bit quieter and recorded the announcement. And then I stopped recording, and about 30 seconds later, this girl came up to me and said, "Excuse me, are you David Eagle?" Which I am, incidentally. I assume you know that. I mean, it'd be quite, I don't know what you're doing listening to this if you didn't know that, but welcome along anyway. You might have just strayed upon this. Maybe your phone has malfunctioned and it's just started playing a random podcast. You're trying to get it off, by which I mean get rid of the podcast. But I mean, if you're doing that as well, then I can't imagine this is going to help you. I think this is probably going to kill the vibe somewhat. But I was kind of surprised that she asked. So I didn't say yes immediately. I sort of went, yes, I am, as if I was shocked by the fact, as if I just realised that I was David Eagle. But you don't kind of expect people to come up to you and say, "Are you David Eagle?" I mean, you probably don't expect that, even more than I don't expect it, because you're probably not called David Eagle. It would make it even weirder if someone came up to you and said, "Are you David Eagle?" But you know what I mean. They said, "Oh, I've been looking at you for the last 2 minutes. I thought it was you." And it turns out she knows the young'uns and that she's seen us at various festivals. So we're having a little bit of a chat. And there's a few things going on in my head. I'm kind of thinking, it's nice to have a bit of a chat, I don't get recognised very often. Now and again I do. It's quite rare. It probably maybe happens about once or twice a month. But then there was other part of me that was kind of a bit annoyed. Not annoyed that she'd come up to me, annoyed that she'd come up to me 30 seconds after she could have come up to me. Because if she'd just come up to me 30 seconds earlier, when I was recording the train announcement, then obviously we'd have got that on recording. You'd have been listening to the recording, then all of a sudden, "Are you David Eagle?" And I thought she'd have just done that 30 seconds earlier. So I was a little bit annoyed with her, but obviously she wasn't to know. But that would have been good for my ego a little bit, People would have gone, "Oh, he gets recognised on the train." Now, you've just got this story, and you're thinking, "Oh, he's probably just making this up." There's no proof now. But then there was another part of me also annoyed at the girl, because I was thinking, if she'd have only gone into the other carriage. I've been in the other carriage for the last hour with my girlfriend, I've just come in here to do a recording. If she'd have been in the other carriage a couple of minutes earlier, that would have been really impressive. I'd have been quite impressive for my girlfriend to have seen. She would have come up to me, this other girl. "Are you David Eagle?" she'd have said. And then my girlfriend would have seen the look in her eye. It's like she can't believe that she's met me. The coyness politeness in her demeanour. And my girlfriend would have realised there's competition out there. You know, that would have been quite useful. Because I don't think she thinks there's any competition. You know, she just thinks I'm a kind of person who just sits around all day editing my own voice, recording my own voice and then editing it, listening to myself on loop, uploading it to the internet. And I thought that would have been really useful if you were in the other carriage. I mean, I did think about asking her. I did think about saying, oh, will you do me a favour? I'm going to go back into the other carriage where my girlfriend is. I don't suppose you just wait a few seconds. I'll also get the recorder going as well. I'll just pretend to my girlfriend Ellie that I'm recording the bird song in the train, and then you come up to me, say, are you David Eagle? If you could accentuate the coyness even more, and the sort of the nervousness, maybe do a little nervous giggle as well. That'd be good. As if you, oh, it's David Eagle. Maybe could you swoon? That'll be nice. I mean, obviously we won't get the swoon on the recording, but my girlfriend will get the swoon. That would be brilliant if you could do that. So what actually happened is I talked to the girl for a little bit and then went back into my carriage and I told my girlfriend I'd been spotted. And she made a noise that suggested she didn't believe me. As if there he goes again. He's really kind of quite the egotist, isn't he? I mean, not only does he record the sound of his own voice and then spends all the time editing it, but now he's gone into another carriage for 2 minutes. He comes back and he's got with his story about being recognised. And then he'll probably tell this story a few days later on his Dollop in order to make it seem like it's got extra veracity. But he's probably just made the whole thing up. He's now just telling everybody else about it in order to make it seem true. Well, you're not fooling anyone. I think that's what that noise conveyed. It was a harumph. It was a sort of harumphing sound. I don't actually know what constitutes a harumph. I mean, feel free if you, because I'm trying to think of what harumph might be. I can kind of imagine it in my head, but that would be an interesting interactive feature. What do you think the noise is? If you had to sum up the word harumph in an actual harumphing noise, what would it be? Feel free to leave a comment, attach an MP3 or a video of yourself harumphing, and the best one might win Dollopy of the Week. Who knows? I very much doubt I'm going to get any harumphers. There's like a big tractor coming up behind me. Are you David Eagle? Oh, it's they've been recognised by the farmer. Yes, I am. There we go. Been spotted again, everybody, by an authentic farmer there. Interesting accent, bearing in mind we're in Sheffield, but there we go. Even farmers in Sheffield have the stereotypical farmer voice, seemingly. And you can't see this, but the farmer actually swooned as well. Obviously, you can't see that on the recording. He swooned. I was a bit worried. In the act of swooning, he was going to topple the tractor over. But there's been a few times where I've been recognised. A month ago, I was recognised 3 times within a week. And each time, it was when I was walking to my girlfriend Ellie's house. And we'd only started going out. And I was like, oh, I've been spotted again. I've been recognised again. And then have another story. And I think she's probably thinking, he's making this up. Because I've never been out with her and been recognised. But I used to always come back, oh, you won't believe what's happened. She's like, you've been recognised again? Yes, I have, yes. She's probably, oh, God. Here we go. At least he's not recording himself. At least he's not recording himself on a daily basis anymore. You know, at least that was just 2016. And now I've started recording myself again. But it's happened a few times in the last couple of months. One of the times was really awkward because I was running for a train and I was going to miss the train potentially. And so I went, oh, hello, you're David from the Young'uns, and started chatting away to me. And I didn't know what to do because I was kind of paralysed by politeness. I didn't want to be rude, but at the same time I had to run for a train. And then I thought I was being really rude because I just started running for a train. I had to run off. So over my shoulder I just shouted, you can tweet me if you want. And then ran off thinking, what an absolute idiot I sound. And then I was walking down the street a couple of weeks later, and then this man was like, oh, can I have a selfie, mate? I'm sorry to bother you. Can I have a selfie? And I was really confused because I never crossed my mind that they wanted a selfie because they knew who I was. I just thought it was some weird, and it's like, oh, you can if you want. I mean, I don't know why you would want to, but, and they're like, oh, you've got your accordion on your back and everything. Oh, this is brilliant. My mates won't believe this. Brilliant. So he got his phone out, and I thought, I'm sort of intrigued now to know whether he knows who I am or whether he's just some weird bloke who wants to take selfies with people with accordions. Maybe he's had a bit of a bet on with his friend, like it's just a random thing. They're in the pub. He's going, go on, give me a challenge, I'll do it. He's like, challenge? All right then, give me a random challenge and I'll get it for you. Bring the evidence to the pub tomorrow. All right then, get a selfie with a man with an accordion. I'll give it a go, lads. And he couldn't believe his luck when I came down the street. I thought I needed to find out whether he knew who I was, so I sort of said, so, do you know who I am? I said. And then I said it and I thought, I hope he doesn't think I'm sort of saying that in a precious way. Do you know who I am? You've just stopped me. Firstly, you're calling me mate, and assuming that I would just stop for the hoi polloi to take a selfie. free of charge. But it did turn out he did know who I was, and he'd also seen us at various folk festivals. And it always shocks me when it happens, because obviously I want to stress that I do not expect to be recognised. I don't have any delusions of celebrity. You know, it's very rare that it happens. It just so happened to have occurred in about 3 times in the space of a week or two. So I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and I thought I'm going to talk about this while it's fresh in my head. And then the song by Bros, When Will I Be Famous, popped into my head. And then my brain went, do you know what? When Will I Be Famous by Bros should work quite well with the Pink Panther theme tune. So I got out of the shower, and rather than doing the many things that I should be getting on with in life, the things that I get paid for, I decided to very hastily assemble this mashup. So we're going to end today's dollop with a very hastily assembled mashup of Bros with the Pink Panther television theme. And with this, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. Excuse me. Oh, hang on. Are you David Eagle?
Hey, yeah. Will I be famous? I can answer that. When will I see my picture in the paper?